And we have a person that's very well known here in the state of New York. He's also known at the party level in terms of the Democrats, but also in the legislature. And he's certainly from a district that is known throughout the world. From Harlem, USA, Assemblyman Keith Wright.
Where do you want me? Here,
how you doing, brother?
I'm
yeah,
well.
Right here.
Good.
How's everything?
Everything's good. Thank you for having me.
Feliz Año Nuevo. Happy
Gracias.
New Year.
Yes, gracias.
Let me tell you, you've been through this, and you've started sessions, and you've going through changes. You knew Mario Cuomo.
Absolutely. Served under him.
You served under him. You saw his passing, how eloquent his son was in summarizing or telling what was in 40 minutes, why he was such a legend and why he was so honorable and so respected by so many, especially Democrats. A man ahead of times, if you will. What do you see now? Am I reading too much and seeing what in the second term of Andrew Cuomo, some of the things he's rolling out, some of the things he's talking about? Is this, his father didn't want to be president, but I have never heard Andrew say he doesn't want to be president. Is that premature on my part?
Well, I don't know if his State of the Union,
right.
His State of the State address and his budget address, I don't know what it has to do with being president, but I just have a feeling he's really gotten his sea legs under him. He's really putting forth some very progressive proposals. What he's talking about in terms of student loans, he's talking about the criminal justice reform. I think we're all going to be very pleasantly surprised about Andrew Cuomo's speech tomorrow. Yes, they're going to have some tax caps and what have you, but I just think tomorrow in terms of criminal justice, he will have some great proposals that I think, especially we in the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, really, really want to hear.
Well, one of the things that I do see, and the way I put it on a national stage, with all due respect to our president, who I think in less than an hour will be addressing the nation on the State of the Union with very positive numbers. 50% approval rating is President Barack Obama, doing better than ever. The economy all of a sudden is doing well, and he was supposed to be the communist, the socialist who was going to tear down the system. But the economy is doing well. I say this because I see that there are certain things that the president is doing that sometimes New York is leading or lock and step with what's happening at the national level. And I've been around a few years also, as you well know, and I'm sensing that there is, for example, the talk of trade with Cuba. I mean, those things are important, but they're talking beyond New York State. I know that we have a lot of great products that probably Cubans could use, and we could use some of their crude.
No question.
So that's what I'm sensing. What are you looking for in the State of the State message tomorrow and the budget?
Well, certainly I'm looking for a lot of things. I'm looking in terms of people being able to benefit that have not benefited from government before. And we're talking about criminal justice reform. We're talking about educational policies. And we're also talking about when he talks about going to Cuba. I mean, that's something that is totally different than any other governor has ever talked about. And I think it makes sense. I think it makes absolute sense for the governor to take a trade mission over to Cuba. I've been to Cuba a couple of times, although the government hasn't known about it, and I think it makes nothing but sense to open up and try and create trade with a country that, listen, everybody else is over there, every other country in the world. So it makes sense for our governor to open up and go on to Cuba. So what I'm looking for tomorrow, I'm looking for the governor to talk about, listen, the biggest issue that's going to hit this state that everyone is talking about is affordable housing. The rent regulations are due come June 15th. So about 1.1 million people, myself included. And as chair of the Housing Committee, I take this issue very, very personally. But this is the biggest issue that's going to hit, especially those of us in New York City, the renewal of rent regulations. So I'm looking for the governor to talk a little bit about affordable housing as well.
That certainly impacts people throughout the state, no doubt about it, especially New York City with rent control and everything else. But there's also the matter of education. I think that by many standards, in the eyes of many, this governor has fallen short in terms of the communities that you and I know very well because we're from there. People, black and brown people, Latinos and Asians and people that... So has this governor lived up to the standards of a real education governor? Because he hasn't mentioned it. People are not satisfied. It's publicly being said. What does he have to do to I mean, it's great for commerce. It's great to bring in business, but do you estimate that? Do you see him failing on that?
One of the things, I think he's done what he's had to do and has made some political decisions. But what I'm looking to hear tomorrow and sometime in the future, and it may not be said in the speech tomorrow, what I'm looking for is a recommitment to the CFE decision. To the CFE decision. We owe a lot of money to the children of the city of New York, children of the state of New York, and we haven't even put down a down payment on that.
You have a colleague who was recently pulled from the assembly.
Yes.
Kareem Kamara, and he's now, I think, a great initiative, the faith-based initiative that he'll be working. He has $50 million at the disposal of this new initiative. What do you expect? Have you spoken to your colleague? I noticed that he's still on the roster listed as an assembly member. I don't know when he leaves. Is there a worry that the governor will pull the same thing and he didn't call a special election and those people will go on?
No, I don't know, but I think it's great for Mr. Kamara. We have spoken. He seems
Reverend.
very excited. He's a reverend, and I think that's one of his passions in terms of trying to get the faith-based community involved in government, involved in politics, a little bit more involved, and I think that he's probably the right person for the job.
Well, Assemblyman Keith Wright from Harlem, USA, tomorrow we'll be listening. I'm going to talk to you later on about some politics, about the 13th Congressional District. We'll do this some other time because I see you smiling.
I can't wait.
I see you smiling.
Look forward to it.
And that is the seat being presently held until 2016 of Congressman Charles B. Rangel, the legend.
That's right.
The legend.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Assemblyman.
Sir.
Good luck.
Thank you, Gerson.